to answer or share your idea. So that's going to be kind of towards the beginning of our time together, but towards the end of our time together, it's your chance to ask the question. So hopefully, if you already have some questions, you'll have some questions by the time towards the end of the program. So how does that sound to you, students?
How does that sound to you?
Good.
Excellent. I was hoping you would say that. So let's get started. The giant kelp forest, like I said, is our topic. There's a lot of different animals that live in this forest. Just like a forest on land is home to animals, so is the forest in the ocean. And what I'd like to do is take you to a viewpoint where hopefully we'll get a chance. Excuse me, I dropped our thermometer here. And as we walk along, I'll tell you what the temperature is right now. But what I want to do is go to a viewpoint where hopefully we'll get a chance to see some of the animals that depend upon the kelp forest. Our thermometer tells us it's degrees right now here at Point Lobos on the California coast. I'll tell you though, it feels colder. It feels maybe like 45 degrees. There's a kind of a strong cold wind coming in right now that makes it feel colder. It's 53 degrees. But in the ocean temperature, I got a chance to measure it this morning, and that's about 52 degrees. And that doesn't fluctuate too much because the kelp really needs that cold water. And we'll talk a little bit more about the kelp in just a moment. What I'd like to do is give you a peek at some of the animals that live in the forest. Now, it's springtime, so all kinds of things are happening in the natural world. We've got birds making nests. We also have some harbors moving up to the beach with their babies. And they're taking a break. So what we're going to do is we're going to go very quietly over to an overlook to look down on some of these harbor seals and their babies. It's a very special time of year, boys and girls. It only happens right now. So, from our perspective, all right, there we go. All right. So all down here, boys and girls.
These are harbor seals.
They are. And there's a little baby right there. So some babies and some mama. We don't want to scare them. All right, so boys and girls, this is the time of year that they have their pups only now. During April and May. Now we're going to get a chance to go back and take a look at that. But you guys were perfect. That's exactly how you should be if you see some wildlife, especially that has a baby, is to be as quiet as possible. Because moms spend a lot. And this baby's kind of introduction to the world. So we want to give them the space, but we also want to make sure that we're quiet enough where we don't disturb them. And you guys were right on with that. Now what I'd like to do is show you where these animals spend most of their time. It's rare that we see them on the beach, only during this time of year. Other times they're out in the ocean, in the kelp forest, and sometimes on some rocks that are offshore a little bit. So what I want to share with you is what that giant kelp actually looks like. And this is where I want you to start to dust off your brain, boys and girls, because you know that you already have this giant kelp. Let's grab some right here. All right, I just have a small piece of it, but this gives you an idea of what it looks like for real. So here we have a piece of a leaf right here. Bring it right on up. Now, kelp is a type of seed, and this is giant kelp, so it can grow well over 100 feet tall. which is actually taller than any one of the trees that we have here at Point Lobos. Now, I'm going to bring this right back on up. And this is the leaf blade of the kelp. And it does the exact same thing that for trees and for other plants. And that's my first question, students. What do leaves do for plants or trees? What's their role? Who can tell me?
What is the role of leaves in a plant? Aubrey?
It helps people breathe.
Okay, so yeah, there's oxygen that's released, and it helps people and animals breathe, absolutely. But what happens before that happens?
Cole?
It provides food for the tree.
Okay, it makes food for the tree, absolutely. And who can tell me in one word what this is?
Do you know what that word is called? It's not something we teach in 4th grade, so I'm not sure if anybody knows the word.
Okay,
Uh,
gotcha. You may have heard it, but maybe you're not quite sure what it is. Yeah.
Carbon dioxide.
it's not carbon dioxide.
Riley has it hand up.
Hydration.
No, but you guys are great with all the puzzle pieces. You're putting the puzzle together with everything that you're saying. And it's all related, yeah. I'll give you a clue. It rhymes with motomythesis.
Photosynthesis.
Say it.
Photosynthesis.
There you go. That's right. How plants make their own food, and the action happens in each. So you guys were all saying the right things. You were sharing the puzzle pieces to photosynthesis. So the leaves take the sunlight in, make their own use of oxygen, but also there's a few other steps in there. The plant produces, like I said, oxygen, but it makes its own food, and it takes in carbon dioxide, which is what we provide and other animals provide. When we exhale and decompose, animals put carbon back into the atmosphere. So all that works together for the leaves to make. And students, that's what happens with the kelp. The kelp photosynthesizes. It makes its own food from the energy of the sun and the carbon dioxide, but it's getting it from the ocean and not from the air. So there's some similarities between the kelp plants on land. Kelp technically is an algae, and plants are in their own group as well. So now I just want to share a few other parts of the kelp with you. So right here we've got this part that connects the leaf to the very bottom. If this was a land plant, what would we call this right here?
They can't see. You're frozen. You kind of are freezing here and there, so you're frozen right now.
Oh,
Okay, maybe.
okay, so I'll wait till it catches up.
Yeah. What part of the plant do you think that is if it was on land?
The stem.
Say it loud.
Stem.
That's right. Stem, you got it. For kelp, we call it a Skype, but it's the same thing. It connects the leaf to the very bottom of the plant. And it also can take in the sun's energy and make food. It's got the same coloring and pigmentation as the leaf, so it photosynthesizes too. Now, students, I'm going to show you this right here. This is something that you would never find, or rarely, if ever, on a land plant. It's this kind of bubble right here. Now, this is an adaptation that the kelp has to get sunlight. So what this does is enables the kelp to come to the top of the water and to grow horizontally. My question to you is, what do you think's on the inside of this that would help the kelp come to the top of the water to soak up as much sunlight as possible?
Rhett, what do you think?
Air.
Maybe you have an idea or a guess.
Air.
I heard air. All right. Any other guesses of what could be in here? Air is a really good one.
A little like foam stuff that would lift. That's very light, so it would lift it up.
Gotta say it loud.
Foam.
Okay.
Like foamy stuff.
All right, so foam or air. Let's take a look on the inside and check it out. That's the only way we're ever going to find out. So I'm going to break it open right now. Oh, it's a little tougher than I expected. There we go. And it was air. So
You're
actually
right.
gases would be the most correct answer. There would be oxygen, carbon dioxide, a little bit of carbon monoxide, and a few other gases. I look at it as kind of a balloon that brings up to the top to get the sunlight that it needs. Now, there's also something else in here. I wonder if I can kind of show you. The kelp itself is kind of slimy, and it's covered with goo. And this float right here has a little bit of the goo on it. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if you can see that. It's not very thick today, but sometimes it's so thick that it covers my fingers. And that goo actually plays a role of helping the kelp. What will happen is that the nutrients in the ocean will stick to the goo on the leaf and it'll absorb it so we can photosynthesize. All right, now there's one more part that I want to share with you about the kelp. And that's how the kelp stays in place. Trees, this is the answer, you're going to know the answer to this question. Trees have what beneath the surface that keeps them in place, soak up water and nutrients from the soil. What is that?
What's underneath?
The roots.
Absolutely, it's the roots. Students, kelp doesn't have roots, but it can stay in place all the same. Hold on, I'm going to grab something right here. And I want to prepare yourself for what you're about to see. If we could dive to the very bottom of the ocean and see what kelp is growing out of, this is what we would see. And a whole bunch of them as well. It's called a holdfast. And the way I remember that is a holdfast to a rock. This is what it looks like. So this is the very bottom of the kelp. So I'll kind of just show it to you and then explain a few things. Sharp eyes will probably notice some holes and tunnels. Maybe even some shells of animals in there. Takes real sharp eyes to see that. But there's a whole bunch of things in here. And then the very bottom of the kelp, the big indention right here. That right on up so you can see it. Now let me explain a few things about the holdfast. So this started life much littler. And when the rock, when it's a baby, they'll start to grow around a rock, like this did. If my fist was a rock at the bottom of the ocean, this would go around it and stick to it. And then the kelp would grow out of it, up towards the surface to get that sunlight it needs. So it's an anchor for the kelp. It keeps it in place. So the kelp, when it's attached to it, can move back and forth, but it'll stay rooted or anchored to the bottom. Now, sharp eyes might have noticed some of the shells in here. I'll see if I can share with you. I kind of see one right here by my finger. Some of you might be able to see that rounded shell right there. Got little bumps on it. My question to you, I want you to think about this. Why are shells in here? What do you think happens in this holdfast to have shells in it? What's going on? Any ideas?
Tegan?
Maybe an animal got stuck in it while it was growing.
All right, so an animal got stuck in it while it was growing. You're on the right track. Any other ideas?
Maybe a rip current came in and it blew the ocean floor into it.
Okay, so yeah, maybe some current kind of put the animal in here. Let's take one more idea.
Ian?
It kind of, I think it got tangled up.
Okay, they got tangled up. Well, this holdfast, when it was alive at the bottom of the ocean, attached to a rock with the kelp growing out of it, was actually a home to all those animals. They would go in here and live, seek shelter. Small fish and small crabs. In the case of that rounded shell, let's see if I can locate that again. That's from the sea urchin. And the sea urchin would live in here, and you know what else it would do in here? Eat it. It would eat this holdfast here. So the home for the urchin, but if the urchin got too big, it would have to actually, probably leave it, but it would probably do a little bit of damage to this. But it's pretty neat to see that the holdfast supports the kelp and also supports life in the kelp forest. All right. Now, we know a little bit about the kelp now. Its structure is somewhat similar to plants on land, but different enough to kind of be classified in its own grouping of algae.
Haley.
And just like this forest on land is home to all kinds of animals, the forest and ocean is too. Let me show you. So we've already seen the harbor seals out there, but if we were to dive down into the kelp forest, we would see all kinds of different types of animals. It's a different idea of what you could discover in the kelp forest here at Point Lobos. Now, there's lots of fish, of course, but what I'd like to do is point out some of those things from something called a lumber, sea stars, anemones, and crabs. Students, those are all animals invertebrates. That's a big science word. Does anybody have an idea of what an invertebrate is?
Connor.
An invertebrate is basically an animal that has no vertebrae.
Yeah, quickly defined, my friend, that's it. It's an animal without a backbone, a different type of skeleton. A lot of times they have what we call an exoskeleton, like a hard shell on the outside, in the case of the crab. So the kelp forest has all invertebrates living in it, like those things that I've out. And then it's got vertebrates, like fish, that live in it. Also has birds at the bottom. And there's a jellyfish, another invertebrate that lives there. And there's our harbor seal. That's what we were seeing down on the beach. But boys and girls, really the main animal that lives in, well, one of the main animals that lives in our kelp forest and depends upon it, is this one right here. It's the sea otter. And I've got a better picture of it. Yeah, look at that. This is a picture of a sea otter taken right here at Point Lobos. Sure, you're going to notice what it's wrapped up in right here. That's giant kelp. Yeah, so the sea otter is a big part of our kelp forest here. And boys and girls, I spoke earlier that the protected place, the state park and a marine protected area, with the ocean part of our kelp forest, is what we protect also. That means that we can't hunt, fish, collect anything here within the boundaries of our park. It's a safe zone for all the animals, all the sea life, including the algae and seaweeds, as well. And that is the sea otter, which is an endangered species. Boys and girls, today the sea otter is fully protected, but in the past was hunted almost to extinction. And I have a question for you, is who knows why? Why was this animal hunted so much, almost to the point of extinction?
Katie.
Maybe because they were easy to catch and they could use their fur.
Boy, you said it. Yes, they were easy to catch, and their fur. Their fur is so thick that people used it for clothing, for rugs, for all kinds of things. In fact, I thought I had a piece of it here, but I don't. But it is super thick. In 1 inch of the sea otter's body, they say there is, hundreds of thousands of fur parts in that. The average human head has 120,000 hairs, so you can see how much furrier and hairier this animal is than a human.
Could you repeat those numbers?
I sure can. A square inch of a sea otter's fur, hundreds of thousands of furs. Some people say, or some scientists have said 500,000, and some have said almost 1 million. So a huge number. And then for the average human hair, it's about 120,000 hairs. So huge difference in the amount of fur that covers our bodies and our heads. So this animal here eats a few things that I want to share with you. We're going to put together an ecological mystery right now. So let me grab a few things.
Alicia.
All right. So what I have here are genes that the otter eats. And they are invertebrates, and we're going to actually see their shells. And here is one of them. It's a very small one. They usually eat ones that are bigger than this, but look at this shell right here. It's a rounded shell. We saw one of these actually in the holdfast. Now, if this were still alive, you see these bumps here? They would have what we call quills, or kind of spikes coming out of them, all the way around. And the sea urchin would eat what was on the inside. They wouldn't eat the shell or the spike. Does anybody know what animal the shell comes from? I'm not sure if you have these in Florida or not.
Connor.
A sea urchin. I mean, not a sea urchin, a barnacle.
You got it.
Oh, okay.
No, you were right. It is a sea urchin. It's a purple sea urchin.
Oh.
So that's what it would look like if it were alive. And you may be thinking, well, why would the otter want to eat that? Ouch! It'll crack it open and eat the inside. It won't even mess with these quills right here. They have padded paws, which will make them eat. They can pick up the otter, or excuse me, the urchin, and crack it open and eat it. So that's how they do it. Now, there's another animal that I want to share with you that the otter eats, and it's a flattened sea snail. Boys and girls, check it out. This is the outer shell right here. And if it were still alive, it has the anatomy of a snail, but this is the inside. This is, empty from its body, but you can see how beautiful the shell is. So the otter eats the inside of this. Now, I've got a kind of a mystery here at Point Lobos. Now, I mentioned that the otters were hunted almost to extinction. But here at Point Lobos, there was a time where there were no otter. When the hunters came through from the north, they hunted all the otters that they could find. Just south of Point Lobos, about 15 miles, there was a group of otters that hid from the hunters. And they continued to move south. They missed a group of, we estimate, about 50 otters. And this was in the 1800s, boys and girls. From that group of otters, we have about 3,000 otters on our central coast today. But we estimate that came from about 50 otters that survived the hunt. Now, some settlers arrived here in the 1850s. And when they arrived here, they didn't see any otters, and they didn't see any kelp. That's our mystery right now, boys and girls. What is the connection between the otters not being here and the kelp not being here? Who knows that connection?
Rhett.
Or wants to take just a guess?
The urchins ate all the kelp, and the otters weren't there to eat the sea urchins.
That's the salt. Exactly right. The urchins and the abalone animals ate all the kelp when the otters weren't here. So then the kelp disappeared. And do you think that actually helped the abalone and the urchins? Did that serve them well in the end?
Do you think that was good or bad? So we studied in the fall. We studied Yellowstone and what happened when they lost the wolves. So is that a connection to this?
Absolutely, it's the exact same thing. It's the niches that the animals play. And well, the wildlife, algae too. So it's what we call a trophic cascade. Something's taken out of the ecosystem and affects everything else, just like the wolves at Yellowstone. But that's exactly what happened here too. So that's a great connection right there. Today, thankfully, it's different. The otter started to come back. It became protected. No longer could it be hunted. And when the otter came back, the kelp came back. And all these animals that depended upon the kelp forest came back as well. Because they didn't hang around very much because there was no it became what we call a barren, almost like an underwater desert in a way. So those are some things that we've learned about in Point Lobos. Like I said, fully protected, and it has the great honor of being the oldest underwater park in our country. We just celebrated this Saturday our 58th anniversary, and in 2 years we're going to have a big celebration of the 50th anniversary of an underwater park. That was the first to be. And today is a great place to come and explore. We have divers going into the water most days, going just take a picture and explore, not fishing or anything like that or collecting. So it kind of speaks to how magnificent and beautiful this forest is. Now, boys and girls, I know I've been talking, and I'd like to open it up to some questions from you. What would you like to know about?
Tegan, nice one then.
Can the kelp move, like if a sea urchin was trying to eat it?
Good question, and it can't. It can move with the water kind of back and forth, but it's attached to that hold fast at the very bottom. So it can't really, kind of run away like an animal would. And the kelp right there at the hold fast and break it off, and then the kelp will have to start growing again. So it can't move away from the earth.
Katie.
Do you guys have any whales?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. The answer is yes, we have whales. In fact, if you were to come to Point Lobos today, April 30th, 2018, chances are the Pacific gray whale migrating north to its summer feeding grounds. We're seeing Pacific gray whales right now, and people have been reporting humpback sightings. I haven't seen a humpback lately, but they see that they've come back, and we have a resident orcas that live in our waters here too. So all kinds of neat whale life here.
Cole.
When the hunters came to hunt down the otters, were there any other animals that they caught and just did whatever they did?
They might have caught like fish to eat and things like that, but as far as other marine mammals during that time, from the information that I've gathered, I think they were just focusing on the otters for the most part. There was a lot of money to be made, trade of the otter pelts. So I think they were focusing on that primarily. But then later on, whales were hunted after the otters were hunted. Even the abalone, that's what I showed you, people developed a taste for the abalone, and that became collected almost to the point of extinction. So we learned a lot of lessons here at Point Lobos.
Connor.
Was there any plague that would wipe out some
Animal illness.
Like, is there any kind of like a plague or a sickness that could wipe out some of the animals? Was that your question?
Yeah, that would extremely hurt. But was there any plague?
Well, we do have something, we're still studying what it is. We don't know if it's viral or bacterial, but there's something called the sea star wasting syndrome, and we're finding that our sea stars are kind of eaten away. They'll just kind of die. We are having this big dieback of sea stars. So there is something going on affecting the sea stars right now, and we're still trying to figure out exactly what it is.
Riley.
Do you have any sharks?
Yes, we do have sharks. Not many sharks actually within the kelp forest, but let me show you. There is one shark that I have seen in the kelp forest. It's quite beautiful. It's this one right here. Leopard shark. It grows to be about 4 feet long, and it swims around the sandy bottom of the kelp forest looking for crabs and clams and things like that. As far as like a great white shark or something like that, it would be rare to see a great white shark in the kelp forest. Though there's plenty of reason for it to come in because there's lots of food. The harbor seal is a big, great meal for the great white shark. But they tend to stay out in the deeper waters, generally.
Rose.
Do you have any turtles?
So there's two reasons why a turtle here at Point Lobos. One is that it got lost, because they normally don't show up here. Number two is that it's sick. It may have eaten something, that it shouldn't have. Unfortunately, in our oceans, there's garbage that's in our oceans in the form of plastic, and the animals will eat that and get sick. So those are the two ways that we generally see either being lost or sick. Yeah, because they normally look. Good question, everyone.
Aubrey.
Do you have any dolphins?
Yes, we do. And into the castores quite frequently for food. And boys and girls, it's pretty amazing to see. The thing that tips us off about the dolphins is that you'll kind of look out, jumping out of the water, and then you look right at them, and you'll see the dolphins' fins. They're doing everything that they can to get out of the way so they don't get chomped. So that's kind of a neat way to see the dolphin is feeding, and that's what brings them for us is food. They don't hang out in it; they just come to eat. Yeah.
What type of animals do you have on the land?
Good question. We've got everything from cottontail rabbits to skunk and raccoon, bobcat and coyotes, mountain and deer. Those are our major animals that we have here on land.
Did you
And there's
say?
lots of birds, which are in there.
Did you say mountain lions?
Yes. Down here are the mountain lions.
Ishmael.
And we even have some bears in the hills just south of here, but the bear doesn't make it to Point Lobos. But there are some in the mountains outside of Point Lobos.
Ishmael.
Are there any owls over there?
We have all kinds of different owls here. We've got the great horned owl, the barn owl, pygmy owl, and of course we don't really see them during the day, but they are a great horned owl. They laid their eggs and they were right with the trail, so we could actually kind of see it all happening. They didn't seem to mind people walking by, but it was really, really neat to see. And boys and girls, that's really what's super special about Point Lobos, is that it's a place really for the plants and the animals on land and in the ocean. We do a lot of things here that put the plants and the animals first. There's no king here, mainly because we want to have the nocturnal animals, the animals at night, have free run of the park without interference. So we close at 7 o'clock at night, and it's turned over to the wildlife, and then we open up the next day. So that's one of the things that we do to protect the wildlife, is let them have a space all over them.
What kind
Yeah,
of
what else would you like to know?
what kind of snakes do you have?
We've got 2 snakes here at Point Lobos, and neither one of them are venomous. We've got the common garter snake, and then we've got the king snake. Our temperatures never get warm enough for rat snakes. They tend to like it a little bit warmer than what we've got here.
Tegan.
Does
Think about your question. Last year you took us into the museum. Are you able to do that this year?
Sure, we can take a peek inside.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and
Hold on.
boys and girls, we talked a little bit about the hunting of the sea otters, and I mentioned that they hunted the whales. And does anybody know what they hunted the whales for? What was special about the whale?
Abby. Go ahead.
They hunted for their blubber, and they turned that into oil. They used oil.
You got it. They turned that blubber into oil. And that actually is something that happened right here at Point Lobos. They hunted the whales, and they would bring them to where our parking lot is today. I'll just show you underneath these branches right here. You can kind of see the cross in the distance. That is where they would bring the whale from the ocean and get it ready to boil it for the oil. And these are the exact pots that they use to boil the blubber and turn it into oil. And what was that oil used for? Does anybody know?
What was the oil used for, Connor?
Medicine. Sometimes.
All right, he said medicine, but some of the students disagree, so I'm going to call on a disagreeer. Go ahead.
All right.
I think they used it for lighthouses to power.
Okay, so you use it to power lamps, to burn oil so we have light. And that's exactly what they used it for. This was before electricity, before kerosene. So what I like to do is show you what it looked like. We've got some oil right in here in our museum.
Okay,
So
so
we've got
this
some
is the
whale oil
inside.
right here,
Stand.
sperm whale right there. And then we've got some from the right whale right here. That kind of looks like maple syrup. But it was the oil, and they use it for oil, just like it says right here. They also use other parts of the whale. So here's a label from a can of whale meat. So other parts were definitely used. So this is what happened for about 25 years at Point Lobos. And then we didn't need the whale blubber anymore because electricity and kerosene were becoming more commonplace. And the blood from the whales needed. And luckily, because what do you think happened to the whale population during this era? Well, did it go up? Did it go down? Did it stay the same?
Red.
It went
Yeah,
down.
I see people's hands. Yeah, in fact, it went way down. Just like the otter almost became extinct, so did the Pacific great whale. It almost extinct from overhunting. People realized that, hey, if we don't stop hunting the whale, we're going to be talking about that whale in past tense. It would be an animal that used to live in our oceans. So rules and regulations got put into place to help save the whale. Worked, boys and girls. That's some old documents from the turn of last century, from 1899 to 1900. And they did a whale count, and they did less than 1,000 whales swimming by Point Lobos then. About 100 years later, the data showed that there was 26,000 whales swimming by. So we can tell that it was a success to stop in those whales. And what we also did is we took them off the endangered species list of the California gray whale. But the girls, what that means is that its population is at a healthy place. It's still protected, but it's we can't hunt it or anything. But its population is at a place where it can survive on its own. It doesn't need, to be on the endangered species list. Because the idea of the species list is to get the animal populations of places to a healthy place so they can survive on their own. All right. Any other questions?
I have a few more questions. Cole?
What is your guys' time zone over there?
Well, I think I get that.
The time zone. What is your time zone down in California?
We're in the Pacific time zone. Yeah, we're 3 hours behind you. So right now it is 9:31 here in California.
Tegan?
Where you live, do you get hurricanes and tornadoes?
We don't get hurricanes and tornadoes. Our natural disasters tend to be wildfires, floods, and earthquakes. That's what we tend to get here.
Connor?
What arachnids do you have?
Oh boy. We have kind of a variety of arachnids. We've got garden spiders, we've got Tourette spiders, things like that. I've never seen a scorpion here, so I don't think those are living here, but we have a variety of spiders. That would be the typical arachnid that we have.
Someone who has not asked a question that would like to ask one. Bailey.
Do you have any monarch butterflies?
Yes, we do. Nearby, there's some other places that get thousands and thousands of butterflies, get hundreds and hundreds of the monarch butterflies. But just up the hill here, there's a place called Whalers Knoll, and that's where they all gather right here at Flint Hills. But if you were to make it out to California during the migration of the monarch butterflies, there's places you go nearby where you would see trees covered with butterflies. And at the
Cool.
Richard, speak up.
They wanted to tell you that we have 2 monarch butterfly chrysalis in our classroom right now.
Oh, that's so great.
Okay, who?
Richard was going.
Richard.
Well, do you have any tribes?
Did you have any indigenous people in your area?
Absolutely. The Ohlone Native Americans lived on this land for thousands of years before the settlers got here. Actually, the Spanish explorers that arrived here first and took the land. And then we still have Native Americans in the area, just not as many as there once was. They lived on this land and traveled across what we call Point Lobos now all the time.
I know your time is short, so I'm going to just do 2 more questions. Ian?
Do you have any mosquitoes?
Okay.
He asked, do you have mosquitoes?
Truthfully, no, not right here at Point Lobos. We have a fresh water source within the park. But if we were to go a little bit inland, near the, we would have mosquitoes there, but not right here.
So I just wonder if you could explain the difference between your beach area compared to Florida, because we live close to the Atlantic. We're like 30 minutes from New Smyrna Beach, Daytona Beach. So the vision is swimming and getting in the ocean. Is it different where you are?
It is. We're kind of in the north half of the state of California, where right coming down the coast current of water. It's actually called the California Current, and it comes from Alaska. So for the northern kind of 2/3 of California, the water's kind of cold. But if you went to the southern third of the state, the southern part of California, there's a group of islands that current from getting to the shore of Southern California. And that's where the water is very warm, very similar to Florida. Summer down in the southern part of the state, the water temperature gets to be 74, 75 degrees, sometimes even more than that. Here at Point Lobos, because of that cold current coming down from Alaska, I think temperatures tend to be at the end of August, and it tends to be about 58 or 9 degrees maximum for our water here. So it all has to do with that cold current of water coming down from Alaska, and then those islands off the coast of our southern part of the state blocking that current, and letting the warm water from the south come up. So Southern California, as far as beaches go, it has a lot more in common with Florida and Northern California does.
Anybody else have a question? Tegan?
How long were the sea otters endangered?
They've been for a long time. So they've been endangered ever since they were hunted back in the 1800s. But officially, you became endangered, I believe, in 1972. That's when endangered species list was created. But we're endangered way before then. So just to be real about it, the sea otter's been endangered for about 200 years. And we're hoping that there won't be another 200 years. We're hoping to see, them recover. So, and that's why we're here at Point Lobos, is to provide a space for this all to happen. And I know you've got places in Florida that are protected from the plants and the animals as well. And that's my question to you, boys and girls, is who do you think is responsible for making sure that we have places like this? Here in California, also in Florida, but worldwide. Who's responsible?
Who's responsible?
Us.
Us, yes.
Fourth graders, you have made my day. That's right. It's us. It's you. It's me. It's everybody. When Point Lobos became a park way back when, it wasn't the plants and animals that decided it. It was people, and we're here to take care of that. Now, I hope you remember a lot from this field trip, but that's something that I hope you never forget, is that it's up to us to make sure that we have these places, because it benefits the plants, the animals, and us as well. And with that, I'll give you another look at these incredible harbor seals that are here on our beach. And with that, a few have already gone out, but look at the baby right there. Yeah. All right, students, thank you so much for inviting me to your school and letting me share this with you. So, I'm just going to wave goodbye.
And what do we say?
Thank you. Bye.
You are more than welcome, students. Thank you.
Bye bye. Have a great time.